It was the marathon that turned into a sprint. Even the strongest cynics, and they are not hard to come by, had to smile at the 500-meter final stretch that defined the making of history. The marathon distance has been completed in under 2 hours. Eliud Kipchoge had brushed aside his pacemakers. The Kenyan pointed to and waved at adoring galleries, 15 deep in the middle of a Vienna park, as he galloped towards athletic immortality. "That was the best moment in my life," said Kipchoge of catching sight of the finish line. When he crossed it, the clock read 1:59:40.2. Amid inevitable, wide-ranging assessment of what this all means, at least identify this can be defined as a reference point for decades and generations to come. It was already known that Kipchoge is an extraordinary athlete. He merely pressed home the point on a misty morning in Austria. With the clock stopped and a sporting world looking on with awe, the 34-year-old Kenyan displayed all the physical strain of having walked for the morning papers. "I felt a lot of pressure yesterday," Kipchoge admitted. "I received a lot of calls of encouragement from all over the world. The president of Kenya called me. When you receive so many calls from high-profile people, there is pressure." Kipchoge described the period between a 4:50 am wake-up call and his scheduled 8:15 am start as the toughest of his life. What followed resembled blissful simplicity. Yet comparisons to other sporting and historical acts were inevitable and duly forthcoming. It is altogether fair to reference Roger Bannister, who 65 years ago achieved what had been widely perceived as impossible by running a mile in under 4 minutes. That Kipchoge has entered the domain of first man on the moon Neil Armstrong, as some commentators claimed, is, however, a stretch. This was an operation afforded military levels of planning and an even loftier budget. Vienna had been preferred to London because of benign conditions. Kipchoge ran every kilometer between a range of 2:48 and 2:52. Teams of 7 pacemakers, in a phalanx formation, 2-1-2-2, not only kept Kipchoge on the right side of the clock but protected him from what little breeze existed. That was controversial. So, too, the green lasers projected onto the road as a further safeguard against losing ground. This is not sport as we knew it. The hills couldn't be alive because the hills didn't exist. Kipchoge's route was entirely flat and 90% straight. This was about breaking barriers and showing, as the marathon logo stated, that no human is limited. If that is true, presumably the glass ceiling for those famous 26.2 miles has yet to be reached. Kipchoge, essentially a modest sort, said he knew within the first kilometer that he would achieve his goal. He swatted aside one view that mid-race presented brief troubles. "That's untrue," Kipchoge said. It seemed incredible that the 4-time London Marathon winner trained for this pursuit for just 4 months. And the Saturday morning breakfast of champions? Oatmeal. The runner's coach, Patrick Sang, cut one of many euphoric figures. "He has inspired all of us to stretch our limits in our lives," said Sang. "Everything went perfectly. Records are meant to be broken. I'm sure someone down the road will want to try to break this one, but history has been made." Kipchoge quietly exited to bestow an epic party on his 41 pacemakers. Pretty swiftly, if not in the territory of the man himself, this corner of Vienna returned to normality. Marathon running, meanwhile, will never be the same again. Ah, Vienna.